Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Winslow, and that is Carlos,
What's
and
up?
this is the Creative Whole. Yeah,
What's up, everybody?
that's right. That's right. hmm So I'm glad everybody, or I hope everybody is having a blessed week so far. Um, I know I am. I know Carlos is. We're here, and we're here to discuss the book Ruthless Elimination by John Mark Comer.
We're getting towards the end, y'all.
Yes, we have 2 more weeks. Next week, we'll be doing one, and then the following week, we are going to be having a special guest
All
probably
right.
coming on, and we're going to do like a final summary of the whole book. So, last week we kind of discussed, and it was the key blink number 7, which was talking about taking a day off every week for rest and solitude. So one of the things that I was talking about is even Jesus, being as powerful as he was, still took a break after he created this world. Still. So I think we could find it in our time schedule to take a break. And it doesn't have to be something extravagant like going on the side of the mountain like Jesus and taking a break from. One story I heard is that he like to take breaks from Peter. Um, even he needed to get away.
Sometimes I
And
want to take a break from myself,
good
but
luck.
I can't get too far though.
No. So it'd be about taking a break, just being in silence, and just pretty much sitting alone with your thoughts. And then a big thing for us would be having conversation with the Lord, and just having time alone, in a sense, within ourselves, trying to slow down our minds. But yeah, so just try to give yourself some time alone, whether it's by yourself. Um, do some deep breathing. Just maybe reflect on if it's later on in the day. Reflect on the day. If it's earlier, maybe reflect on the day before. Maybe some things that you could do better. Whatever the case may be. So it's all about trying to take that rest, and so that's what pretty much a small recap of key idea number 7
Well, thank you,
was.
Winslow. Good
You're
job.
welcome. So this week we have key idea number 8, ocho. So it is by consuming less and sharing more, we'll have more time for the things that really matter.
Okay.
So with that first one, give me a couple things that really matter to you,
My
and probably for me it's probably
family.
going to be the same. Go
Yeah.
on.
My family, my books,
No.
my and things that have to do with like church and like my faith. So yeah, and like community and to me that's like community oriented because I love being
Faith.
around people and I love work too. I enjoy what I do, but that's not
So
really very restful.
yeah, definitely not. Be a little
It's a bit much.
consuming of your
Yeah.
neurons in your mind.
Hmm.
So I would probably say family, faith, um, and I bring this up a lot, but I truly, truly mean it, which is just having relationships. Could be just with anybody, people I don't even know. Have a relationship with them. Just have conversation. I think it's the conversation. I just like having conversation, and then probably one of my, I'm not gonna say guilty pleasures, but it's going like on YouTube and researching different ways in order to do podcasts, in order to put stuff on social media. So that's probably my guilty pleasure.
Nice. Nice.
But I mean, luckily I don't buy a bunch of shoes though, and we'll get into that in a couple seconds. But in this episode,
You
we'll
don't even wear
discuss.
shoes if you don't have
I
to.
don't. I wear chonkless.
Yeah, you do.
I do. But in this episode, we will discuss the impact of our modern consumer culture, the importance of time management, and strategies for living a less materialistic lifestyle. So here's one of the things that I was talking about. So one of the questions that John Mark Comer asked was, "How many pairs of shoes do you have in your closet, and how many of those pairs have you worn recently?" And he states by if answering those two questions has led to any guilty feelings, don't blame yourself.
So,
Um,
do you have
Go on.
any guilty feelings with
No,
that?
no.
Because I don't, and I would even say that I have shoes that I should wear that I don't, but I don't feel bad that I have them. So I don't know if I'm just a bad person.
So,
I like. My wife knows. Like I just
how
buy
many pairs of
shoes.
shoes do you think you have? We'll just go pairs of shoes. Shoes and chanclas are different.
Yeah,
So dress
no.
shoes and
Well,
tennis
because
shoes
chanclas
are
are
all the
not
same.
shoes.
Huh?
Chanclas are not shoes. They're not
O-
shoes.
Okay, so how many pairs?
I don't know. Maybe like 10 to 15.
Wow. I think I have like six.
But those include like old ones. Those are like even my lawnmower shoes. You know what I mean?
No.
I'm just talking about like how many shoes I got.
Are those new Gucci uh, slip-ons? Is that the ones
No,
that you still do your lawn mowing with?
no, I use the Fuchi ones.
The Fuji's
Mm-hmm.
from the Mate Monday, the Monday
Mm-hmm.
Mate.
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
that's right. So our modern consumer culture has developed as a result of our move from a needs-based economy to a desires-based economy over the past century. So we'll kind of get into how it kind of used to be maybe 100 years ago. Um, but what the whole thing is, we often believe we need to consume more to be more complete. Um, so for some reason, the first time when I think consume, I think eat, which I know he's
Hmm.
not talking about eating, right?
No,
He's talking about
but it is a,
getting.
yeah, of getting, but it's interesting. Like even in um for like providers, like I think even in some of the people we worked with together, they called people consumers who use the
Yes,
services,
that's
right?
weird.
So it's, yeah, and I always thought that was a weird thing to call the people, but they didn't want to call them clients, so they called them consumers. So I don't know. I just think like zombie apocalypse, like they're just eating brains, giving me brains.
So they have to eat more brains to become more complete.
I guess
By
so.
eating the brains and they become smarter.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
But I think, going
No, go on.
going back to the consuming, I think really it's just, are you trying to fill an empty place?
And typically that's what it is
That's just kind of what I think
for
of.
me anyway.
Yeah.
I would definitely say. But as John Mark Comer talks about, is things didn't used to be this way. So he talks about how only 100 years ago, 90% of all Americans earned their living by farming the land. They grew their own food, bartered goods with neighbors, and hardly ever used money.
Might be that way again soon, the way things are looking in the economy.
Now, how well
Are
do you
you?
think you would do in that?
Oh man, I honestly
So I'm guessing
struggle.
bad.
Well, I struggle with it, but I made. It's gonna sound horrible, but I have friends that got land. I have friends that have guns, and I have friends that have livestock. So, so I
So
kind of make
indirectly, indirectly,
indirectly,
you're good.
I can at least, I don't know, find some way to do some bartering with something. Use the friendship a little bit. Like, hey man, can I get a can I get a bullet?
I know I haven't talked to you in like 7 years, but hey, can I get one of those 40s over there? Maybe
Not
45 for my buddy.
yeah. I was say, yeah, well, not a 40.
No, 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 no.
Not a 40.
That's long gone, out of my scope now. But
No
what
pun
else?
intended. Gun
No.
scope. Oh.
But today, however, only 2% of Americans
Where are
work
you
in
from, eh?
agriculture. Can't tell you that. And I would say a lot of the agriculture definitely comes from around where we live, which is Central California.
Yeah, we feed the world. We
Hmm.
really do. So, how do you think you would do, Winslow? Like, if, being that the way things used to be of farming land and growing your own food, bartering with neighbors, things like that, using actual things that were trade
Of
off
the earth.
value.
Um,
Yeah.
the bartering thing, I think I would be able to do pretty well. But I think it's the growing of the things that might be a little bit more complicated because I don't necessarily have a green thumb. I have more of a dead thumb, I guess. And I've also actually never tried to really grow anything. I mean, I've tried to, um, I don't know if it's grow, cultivate, um, like a bonsai tree, which
Hmm.
those are pretty hard,
Are they?
but they're kind of cool. Yeah.
But I also think too, like even in terms of like the land, like you got the land to grow stuff. You know,
Well, wherever I'm at,
this seat's taken. That's pretty much how that's gonna go.
I'm just saying.
But yeah,
I know
it'd be
somewhere
interesting to live that way.
it would definitely be interesting. And a lot of times, like I'll watch every once in a while, like I'll watch shows about like, um, what is it called? Like something Alaska,
Oh yeah,
living in Alaska or something like that. And I'm like, huh, I
yeah. I
kind of
looked
want
at that
to,
one. That
yeah,
looks
I
pretty
want to
rough.
last in there. Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if I
about
want to eat seal blubber,
that.
but I guess
Hey,
you gotta do what you gotta
we,
do.
we just might have to.
Yeah, because I'm so much different than that. I eat fried pig fat.
That's good though.
Chicharron. That's
And it's
bomb.
healthy.
I don't know about
That's what I've
that.
heard. That's what I've heard. And I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Just saying. But we now depend on money for everything and have become trapped in a cycle of overconsumption where we keep buying things we don't really need.
True
I
that.
am definitely guilty of that.
I am guilty.
But luckily, a lot of things that I really didn't need like 3 years ago, I'm actually using now. I
Is
mean,
that
so
a justification?
yeah, that's all it is.
Are you still buying?
Justification
Are you still buying things?
here and there.
I do.
Not as much. Not as
I can.
much.
I have packages. Yeah, right. It hasn't been that bad, probably the past week, but I
Good
usually got
job.
a package like every day
Oh, I was
on
like
deck.
that for a while.
On deck.
I'd be sending them everywhere.
But mine is like books. I'm just always buying books. I have like a stupid, ridiculous amount of books, and I don't read them. I read, but I don't read all the books I buy. I just like knowing they're there. And the funny thing is, here's like a confession. So it's for that type of situation in case like we don't have access to like internet or whatever like that. I
Hey,
love knowing that I have like a library
hopefully
because
Fahrenheit 451 doesn't happen.
well, I just hope like I could teach classes or something. If like the internet dies, come to my garage.
But I'm sure you could teach something even
Yeah,
without books.
yeah.
But I think a lot of times things do come down to like options.
Hmm.
Yes, we do spend a lot of maybe a lot not a lot of money, but a lot of time in researching all this stuff. And I think that's where it becomes the issue is the research of whatever we're buying. Because that would be my thing. But but by
Blah.
buying more and more goods doesn't only cost us money, it distracts from the small amount of time we have in our lives. And that's kind of what I touched on. Um, so it's not about not only costing the money, but it's costing the small amount of time that we have to live our lives. So the small amount of time that we could be spending with our family, the small amount of time that we could be educating ourselves in certain things. Like one of the things that I've talked about and you mentioned was our faith, so we could get closer and closer to God. The other thing that I talked about was my guilty pleasure of going on YouTube and trying to figure out good ways in order to, I don't know, build a brand or how to piece content together in order to throw on different types of social media, what different types of social media mean for different platforms and everything like that.
Out of
So
curiosity, why do you categorize that as a guilty pleasure?
I don't know.
Because I look at it as because I know you. I look at it as you're honing your
And
craft.
I guess that's more so what it is. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I say guilty pleasure. But you know what one of my
Because
guilty
you just
pleasures
because you
used to
enjoy
be?
it.
Probably. But you know what one of my guilty pleasures used to be? Remember that girl or that band, Avril Lavigne?
Ever living?
Avril Lavigne.
Oh,
She was the one that
oh
sang
yeah,
Skater Boy.
I've heard of
Yeah.
her, but yeah, I
She
don't.
used to be a guilty pleasure of mine that I would listen to. But it is what it is.
I don't know whether to make fun of you or not because I can't think of the song.
She was a skater boy. She looked really silly boy. And fun fact is, a buddy of mine that passed away, rest his soul, um, when they were looking for, I think I told you this before, but when they were looking for a bass player, he was trying to get me to go over to LA to go audition um, to be the bass player for Avril Lavigne.
Oh,
And
for
I
real?
didn't do it. Yeah.
Hmm. Another fun fact: did you know Nintendo has its own like Donkey Kong trademark?
What?
Yeah,
I didn't actually know that.
random fact. Yeah.
One of these days we'll do like a 15-minute like random facts that we know.
All right.
One more random fact, and then that's it. Did you know that it's illegal? I think it's in California that I've read, or it's somewhere that it's illegal to take a bath with an orange.
For real?
Yeah, I read it in like some like book that a buddy of mine had, like useless facts of like laws or something like that. I'm like,
I'm
oh,
I'm
nice.
interested. I'm interested about the development of that law, the
I
surroundings.
I was gonna say I can safely say I've never been arrested for that, but I've never actually ate an orange in the bathtub.
All right.
So yeah,
Cool. Interesting fact.
thank you. So if we truly want to eliminate hurry from our lives, we have to wean ourselves off our craving for unnecessary things.
Unnecessary things.
And I have a lot of unnecessary things at the time, 3 years ago. A lot of unnecessary things, trying to build up what we're doing now, but I probably didn't need to do it back then.
I think I buy a lot of fast food unnecessarily.
Oh yeah,
I think that would save me a lot of money,
oh yeah,
and I'd lose weight for sure.
I do that a lot,
And my health is important to me, and so,
and it should be.
and it should be so, and yet, yeah. Moving on. Oh, salud.
Thank you, thank you. So Jesus preached that money does not matter, that the path of living a good life is only to have what we really need and to give the rest away.
What do you think about that?
So on surface that would be hard, but I guess it's in a digital world, so the stuff that I have in order to create these podcasts and everything like that, do I need it? Well, yeah, in order to create the podcast how we're doing it right now, but do I need it in the sense of can I just use my phone? Yeah. So I guess that's where my overthinking comes. Um, and I'm thinking like way too much.
Yeah. But what
But in
about
the
the fact like Jesus preached that money does not matter?
okay, so it's like I want to believe it, and I do believe it since he said it. Um, but
Or
I
did
still
he?
have like the flesh in me that says money makes the world go around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do because I have a hard time believing that money does not matter. And I don't think Jesus ever put it directly like that. I think he cares more about our trust, putting our full trust. It's like even our money here it says, in God we trust.
Yeah,
But a lot of times we talk about believing in God, but it's in money we trust, and it's like if we start
it's
freaking
another idol.
out, if it gets low and like God's like, no, like I got you. So you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Come to me.
And that's the faith part because that's where the struggle comes in because it's like, okay, better be real.
But that's why we live by faith.
Absolutely.
So you might be alarmed at the prospect of emptying your house and living out the days in one pair of jeans. Which probably that part's probably pretty easy because during, well, my work day anyway, I wear the same pair of jeans like every day. and it's just, I don't know, less washing it, less whatever. And then during the weekend, I'll wear like one pair of shorts, Saturday and Sunday,
Cool.
and
I
then
think
probably
I
the following Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I wear like my basketball shorts and stuff, but one pair of jeans,
With your tall socks and your sliders.
you know it.
That's right.
You know it.
I
You
like
know me
that.
too well.
But there are less radical ways of simplifying our lives and weaning ourselves off of our our dependence on things. And I'm just guessing things are just like a random, like random things. I'm
Stuff.
guessing. Yeah, stuff that we probably don't even need. So before whipping out your credit card, think to yourself, what is the true cost of this item? How many hours of time does it take to buy it? Do I really need it? So I can definitely see like how hurry could be incorporated into all this, um, because especially like with some of these like cameras and I don't know, this Rodecaster Pro here, this ATM Mini, like a live switcher for my cameras. I did probably spend a lot of time like researching it, and within that time, I could have probably been spending time with my family. I could have probably been educating myself and honing my craft of social media marketing, just podcasts in general, getting into the Word of God. But yet, I chose to do all that other stuff, and then something might like snap in my head and be like, oh, well, I need to do this. And then I find myself like rushing. Let's say if I'm going to like read the word or maybe watch a sermon or something like that, I find myself like already in a rushing mode. And when I get in a rushing mode, either A, I'm gonna get snappish. I was just talking about like a few weeks ago, walking out the door in a rush, you're gonna become snappish. Your family's probably not gonna like it. Um, and so by kind of using time management, allocating a certain amount of time into doing something, it probably wouldn't rush me into the more important things in my life, which is my faith and my family. I could have been giving more to that,
Hmm.
but then since I put that like towards the end of the day type of thing, um, I'm just rushing through it, and I don't like that feeling. And I've had that feeling like reading the word before.
And I think it all has a culminating effect. So, like, I mean, say for example, like not getting enough sleep. Okay, say you're tinkering around with that thing, messing around, right? And say you stayed up, you know, hour and a half beyond your normal bedtime, and say you didn't get the best night's sleep, and you got to wake up, and so now you're feeling a little grumpy. Okay, so maybe now you drink a little extra caffeine, you know, or maybe an energy drink during the day, and now you're tired, and now you're maybe a little brain fog at work, and now your quality at work is not good. Now you're feeling a little stressed because you're running a little behind, and then you got maybe, you know, little work stress from some, you know, coworkers, boss, expectations, stressors, whatever. You know, and it's like you take all that and it all starts adding up little by little by little. And like by the time you walk back in the house, right, you had a much different day than you would have if you had stopped tinkering with that thing, right, and went to bed like normal.
And I think even within all that, like if you had the idea of what I've preached about before, which was stopping and smelling the roses, I
Hmm.
think that will calm the mind.
Hmm.
Um, just being intentional, and I think that's the big thing about anything. So let's say if I'm researching this Rodecaster Pro right here, which gives us the audio, like is it intentional? Yes, but is it something that I need to give that time to at that moment? Probably not. So having that intentional time with family, with God, those are the things that should be higher on the list. So then towards the end of the day, like if I have a little bit of time, then I think that'll probably stop the hurry, me being in a hurry, me being in a rush. And I think that will make things a little bit better
Yeah.
rather
So
than flipped around.
so like out of curiosity, I'm just thinking now. So would you say that's pretty much equivalent to we want to play, so we're playing with our toys, right? And so maybe that hurry could be like, how he talked about guilt about shoes. Maybe our
Hmm.
thing isn't shoes, but ours is,
Electronics.
yeah, electronics, or playing. And so maybe the low key there's a little bit of that guilt in there that makes us feel like we need to hurry because we already know we're kind of like in violation, you know. At least for me, that's how like my conscience gets to me sometimes, and so like I'll try to like catch up to not make it feel bad, try to relieve myself.
So I think that's where the hurry comes from, is you're trying to catch up.
Hmm.
And when we're trying to catch up, then we're trying to, and in my
Not
in
being
my
present.
scenario and in my scenario, like if I were to bring family and um, the word, God, meditation towards the end of the day, that's the part that I'm rushing rather than being intentional with that. I'm taking everything else like, oh, I need to learn this, I need to learn that, I need to learn this, even though I'm not going to learn it all like that quick. But how I watch it is like I'm going to learn everything at that time, which I probably need to do that a little bit of block time. Um, and after at that time, then it's just like, okay, well, now I'll just move some over to the next day,
Yeah,
and being able
definitely.
just to stop that and then
It's
stop the rush.
it's some major prioritizing for sure. But I do want to touch on the fact what he said. Talk before whipping out your credit card. Think to yourself, what is the true cost of this item? So it goes back to like he says, the true cost. So I remember I read this thing. There's this like social media thing called Little Buddha or something like that, and it said we sell our lives by the hour at
Yeah.
work, and like we do. So it's like literally, I'm selling my whole life for 8 hours. Like I'm selling myself to somebody, right? So they can tell me what to do, and I go work for them so they can give me money. So I give them my time, my energy, you know,
Everything
and my skills and whatever I bring it all so I can get paid. And I want to get paid for what, right?
in
To
order
get
to go buy a bunch of shoes.
yeah, or to buy a bunch of books that I'm not going to read. And then it's like then I get, worked up about, how much I got to work or this or that. And it's like, if you really just slow down and think about it, you know, you probably got all your needs met
Oh,
and
you do.
no,
For
for
the
sure.
for
Oh,
the
for
most part,
sure.
you
I'm
do.
blessed.
Yeah.
Not for the most part, I do. I'm like, I want for nothing.
Still
I'm
alive.
good. Yeah. But I mean, even beyond that, like I'm blessed.
Hmm.
I am.
So also, one thing that he talks about is instead of buying on impulse, which I don't do, of course, consider the value of what you're purchasing in comparison to the cost. So it kind of goes back to what you're just talking about. So it's like looking at it as a holistic approach. What do you think of
Like
that word, holistic?
made me think of the whole and creative whole.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. WHOLE.
Yep.
So in combination with consuming less, sharing our existing possessions in a or is a great way to live a less materialistic lifestyle.
Are you a sharer?
Um, yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what.
Context.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
so like the first thing I thought is like so we do have like a couple like homeless members of ours that I don't know might need clothes, and so the other day I had some like brand new I don't know sweats, joggers, whatever you want to call them, never worn or anything like that, but I've had them for probably months,
Mm-hmm.
6, 7, 8 months. So like I just shared in the sense of I gave it to him, but nonetheless it was me sharing the stuff that I don't use and giving it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm okay, but I think it's one of those things like I'm okay with it when I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah. So one of the examples that he gives is taking part in a car share scheme. Scheme. when I heard that word, it just sounds like
Yeah.
a negative word.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sounds like a
scheme with,
hustle.
yeah, scheme with neighbors will not only cut down on cost and therefore time, because now you don't have to go to the gas station, all this other stuff, but it will also make you more rooted in your community. So it'll pretty much open it up for communication depending on how early it is for me. Like if it's 6, 7, 8 in the morning, I'm probably not going to communicate too much because I'm still waking up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, and like I was involved in like van pools and stuff, like going to work. Um, and yeah, it's help. You save money. You don't have to spend much. But see, and this is where I get a little selfish though, because I shared with you how I like my time in the morning, and
mm-hmm,
so in in order to kind of like I guess slack a little bit more in the morning and not have to feel so
obligated,
scheduled, no, so scheduled, like I gotta hurry, and it makes me have more of a relaxed feeling.
not
I
in a
start
rush.
not in a rush. I say, you know what? I'd rather pay for my gas and drive to work by myself so I can have that time as well. So now, not only do I have my time at home, I have my drive there and my drive back, which kind of like throws in, a good chunk of time because, I have a little driving distance for work. So that, I snuck in some, I guess, me time, some me and Jesus time. Um, and to me, that's worth the money. I'd rather pay the money for my own gas and save money and not have that
Because it's more of an emotional thing for you.
emotional, spiritual, mental health, you know.
So it comes back down to like a few blinks that was that we just read, which is what is the true cost of this item? So the true
Hmm.
cost of the item of doing the ride share, yes, you in a sense you could create community, but at the same time, like the true cost, like my emotional well-being, my spiritual well-being, um, my time, it's worth it
Hmm.
because of the benefits that you get from it. And
Hmm.
I'm the exact same way. Like if it's like, oh well, we should carpool, and it's like I get it, but I'm willing to spend that extra money for my emotional well-being, for the time that I could have meditating on God's word, listening to sermons, whatever the case may be.
And because me and you are also overthinkers, right? Then we're like, okay, like what if one of us gets sick? I don't want you to have to depend on me. I don't want to have to depend on you. It's just easier. I don't want to have to like, I'm already married, so I don't want to have to include one other person into
It's a lot easier. It's a lot
right.
easier, but it's a lot harder because
Yeah.
we're gonna overthink.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest lies we've been sold is that we need money to enjoy life, which may be to a point. But however, these are so many simple and free pleasures available if we just take the time to appreciate them.
Hmm.
And here's a list or a couple things that John Mark Comer talks about, which is savor a cup of coffee in the morning, a bike ride, a chat with an old friend. We don't need fancy exercise gear to enjoy a trip to the park.
Just me and my Jane Fonda VHS. One and two. Or
Dang.
Richard Simmons. What?
Okay. Or I think one of the things that they're talking about is like even because it was talking about the exercise gear to enjoy a trip to the park. It was talking about like just going into like what did it say, like a pile of leaves, and just like having fun in a pile of leaves is enough like alone time for you to appreciate pretty much life in general, really. And by prioritizing the things that really matter, we can find more meaning and happiness in life, which I do believe with the prioritizing of the things that are most important to you, if you put a lot more effort towards that, I think that would find a lot more meaning and happiness in life. And I think that's what it comes down to is happiness in life, having that peace, and sharing it with the people that you love. So remember, money does not buy happiness, but time and relationships do.
Yeah, I agree.
And one big thing that I was thinking about when I was going over that was, so yes, money does buy happiness for a certain extent. Um, it's not sustainable, by any means, but just time in general and relationships do. So I remember one of the things that I used to do like all the time is when I didn't have a job, um, I would literally go into our downtown and just go visit like a bunch of local shops. Some of them I knew, like the owners, but some of them I didn't even know. Like I got introduced to them by people that I knew. Um, and I would just go in there and I would just talk with them. One was what was it called? The It was an art store, like a painting store. So I would go in there and I would just talk about like painting, um, like fine art painting type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and it didn't cost me any money. All I would do is use my time and I would just build relationships. And that's the biggest part of like how I would, I don't know, in a sense, like be known or or start my like networking that I have around where I live,
Hmm.
um, was by taking that time and building relationships.
Bro, I was just thinking as you're sharing about that. So I kind of feel a little conflicted about what I'm about to say, but it is what it is.
And you should.
So like I'm happy with, like, obviously I don't want to struggle financially. I want to have
Hmm.
my needs met. I want my wife to have her car, have my car, just not really stress about stuff like that. But I can look back, and it was during the times of struggle when I did have less money that things we had less options, and so we had to enjoy going to the corner store and being happy with buying a big, fountain drink and sharing it and having a bag of chips. And I remember me and my wife used to ride bikes in the early years because we didn't have cars, we were still young, and I was coming into recovery. And so it's like God has really blessed me with good jobs, um, and I'm
Amen
blessed
to
and
that.
thankful for that. But I can say that some of our sweetest memories were, I
We're
guess, like
built.
the camaraderie of, I guess, kind of suffering together with very little money, um, and kind of being without. And so we had to enjoy like hanging out at the park and like simple things or like the dollar movies. You know what I mean? It's like, and something that was so cheap meant so much more. So
But
I don't know. It made me think of that.
like simple, I don't know the other word to use, but simple, but it just had like more, I don't know,
I think we were more
more like
present
you,
because we didn't have more options.
yeah,
So we're more, I guess, thankful that we were doing anything that was like fun, or I don't. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yeah,
So it all comes back down to like money does not buy happiness.
yeah.
Like you make your happiness, like in a sense,
Hmm.
and I think that's good. So some final thoughts to consider. So re-examine your definition of success. Rather than defining success in terms of material possessions or financial gain, try to focus on personal fulfillment and contributing to the well being of others. And that almost comes down to the story that you just spoke about. Like, you didn't really have any money, um, but you fulfilled your guys' relationship by doing things with less money and but probably enjoying it probably a lot more than things that you do now
Hmm.
that you do have money.
Sometimes I think more options makes you less happy. You think it makes you happier to have options, but sometimes I think it can make things. I don't know. Spreads your gratitude energy, I guess. Too
Oh,
thin.
gratitude, huh?
Yeah.
So, how about practice gratitude?
Hey,
Take
hey.
time each day to reflect on the things you are grateful for in your life rather than focusing on what you lack. So, I think a big word, well, besides gratitude, I think one of the big words is to reflect.
Hmm.
Think having a reflective period of the day, whether it be in the morning, whether it be at night, whatever the case may be, I think reflecting is definitely something that can help, and it can definitely help like eliminate some of that hurry slash rushing, um, because you could think about, okay, so one of the questions I could ask yourself is today or yesterday, why was I in a rush? oh, well, it's probably because I left to go to work a little bit later. So next time I'm gonna leave a little bit earlier, or whatever the case may be, because it definitely does help out by reflecting on the day prior or the day of. So a big thing is take small steps. Don't feel like you have to completely overhaul your lifestyle. And like I've said before, is the next step is the most important one. So one thing that I hope you do take a step for too is liking and subscribing to our channel, because it does help us a lot. And then plus, hopefully, we could grow our community, um, and we could grow it to a point where if it's not us like answering questions or anything that you may have, that part of the community can be there, and we can all do this as a community, as pretty much as a whole, maybe a creative whole.
Hey.
That's right. Um, but yeah, so make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts. We're on Castbox. We just got on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. So pretty much, for the most part, all the major platforms. And if there's a platform that you use that we are not on yet, um, go on Instagram, drop us a message, let us know where you listen to it. Also, you could drop us a message on maybe a book that you have been wanting to read, but you just don't have the time. And that's one of the reasons why we're here, for us doing these book reviews for the people that don't have the time in order to read a book that they really want to read, that we can uh, give you the get down with our funny, funny, funny banter that we have. Or maybe it's not that funny. I don't know. I think it's pretty funny.
I enjoy it.
Is there anything that you'd like to say, Carlos?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm thankful that we're going to be having a guest coming on. I think that's going to
It'll be
be
fun.
cool. And
It'll
I
be in
think
two weeks.
that's something to look forward to. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be finishing up the final blink of this book. Just me and
The
Winslow.
elimination of
Mm,
hurry, and it'll
Yep.
be the key blink will be slow down your life and make it less efficient to attain more peace of mind. And I think everybody likes to have that peace of mind.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so a couple weeks when we do it, do it
I knew you were
in a
going to do
couple
that.
weeks. In a couple weeks, I think we're going to try to aim to do it live, um, on YouTube. Maybe we'll try to do it on Facebook and anywhere that we can do it. So just be on the lookout for any posts that we throw out there to remind you that not next week, but the following week, we will be trying to do it live when we have Adrian Valez
All right. Looking
on.
forward to it.
All right, guys, we love you. We hope you have a blessed rest of your week. And Easter is coming up, isn't it? It's on
Yep.
the Sunday, right?
Yep.
We hope you guys have a
Absolutely.
have a great Easter. We
And
love you.
yeah. And hey, if you happen to be looking for a church, you want to take your family, I'll actually be, I've been given the opportunity to minister the word on Sunday, this Sunday,
Now,
Easter.
by any chance, is that going to be like streamed or anything?
It is streamed. It would be under the church name Living Word Hanford. And so if you look that up on um, Facebook, you'll be able to catch that on video, or you can go check it out at 500 East Florinda in Hanford, California. So looking forward to that. You guys are invited. That's at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. So you guys come check it out and be blessed.
Alrighty, everyone. So, like I said, have a great rest of your weekend. This is a creative whole. Peace
Peace.
out. And we are out, I think.